Your brother was murdered. And you sit here in the water gardens, staring at the sky and doing nothing.
We had a hint last year of the characters we introduced from Dorne, and so this year we had the challenge of creating Dorne.
Dorne is the southernmost of the Seven Kingdoms. It's the southeast corner of Westeros, set off from the rest of the continent by a high range of mountains.
Part of the reason Oberyn was able to be as free as he was is because he wasn't the oldest, whereas Prince Doran stayed in Dorne and did the boring work of learning how to rule.
And Prince Doran is a character who is very committed to the well-being of his people.
He's come and collected this character. He's an arch diplomat.
The whole country would have you go to war.
Then we are lucky the whole country does not decide.
Doran definitely runs against the prevailing characteristics of the Dornish, who are hot-blooded.
Hota is the only reason I'm alive. If I have a problem, he will deal with it physically. He's this mountain of a man who makes sure that I don't get into trouble.
For me, he's a really intense inner character that doesn't say much, but is a protective presence for the prince.
The prince does not wish to be disturbed.
We also meet, for the first time in a couple of seasons, Marcella, Jaime and Cersei's daughter.
My character wasn't happy with going at first, but she found her life here and she totally fell in love with Trystane.
Most arranged marriages can be pretty miserable. For us, I guess we hit the jackpot.
Miss Lannister girl skips about the water gardens, eating our food, breathing our air. How many of your brothers and sisters do they have to kill?
We realized that there's nowhere on Earth that looks more like the water gardens than the royal gardens at the Alcazar.
The Water Gardens is a palace where the princes of Dorne have had a residence.
The first time I walked on here, it did take my breath away. It was absolutely lovely.
It was Dorne when we scouted it. It was almost as if we had made the costumes off of the colors.
Well, it's not a set, it's a real palace. I mean, it's not a set. That's what's so extraordinary about our set.
It's tremendous. Many people have asked to shoot here in the past, and nobody's been allowed.
This place is very difficult to shoot because it's protected by the UNESCO. I've tried in other times, and it's been no possible.
It was an easy process once we gained their trust and that we treated it with respect.
Although we haven't had to create very much there because it existed and it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever filmed in, we're kind of adding little accents of colour in just to try and emphasise the differences between the worlds. So orange colours that I think you'll probably see a lot in the costumes, but also in the flowers that we've put in. The tiling that we recreated in the balcony was based on patterns that existed in other parts of the Alcazar, but we did our own versions that incorporated the sunflower.
There's a real vibrancy and energy about the place, and the plants and everything is just so much more exotic than anything else we've seen before.
For us, the idea of having the Dornish royalty living in this fantastic palace with the gardens surrounding them all sides seemed the perfect place to have this very sensual, luxury-loving group of people.
And we're just incredibly grateful to the Spanish government for letting us shoot in truly one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen.